Whether you are eating burgers, fries, sandwiches, or hot dogs, there is one taste that everybody looks forward to. This magical sauce is able to activate all 5 taste receptors in our mouth: sweetness, sourness, saltiness, bitterness, and even umami, otherwise known as savoriness. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, just know that this magical sauce is ketchup. But not just any old bottle of ketchup, Heinz ketchup. Made from the ripest tomatoes, Heinz ketchup is America's favorite condiment that can be prepared with literally anything. Found in 97% of US homes and probably 100% of all restaurants, Heinz is currently the best-selling brand of ketchup in the US, with more than 650 million bottles sold every year. But where did it all begin? In this video, we will be taking a look at exactly how Heinz managed to dominate the world with this bright red condiment and become one of the world's largest food processing companies. Before we continue, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications. Let's begin. The story of Heinz started over 125 years ago with Henry Heinz, born to German immigrants, Johann Georg Heinz and Charlotte Louisa Trump, who, funnily enough, is related to, yes, that Trump, maybe the reason why he eats so much ketchup. However, the company didn't always sell the ketchup that it is known all over the world for. In the beginning, Henry Heinz attempted to sell his famous horseradish sauce, a recipe that was developed by his mother. After gaining some success selling the sauce door to door, Heinz teamed up with a friend in 1869 and founded Heinz Noble & Company. However, even though the horseradish was a local favorite, by 1875 the company went bankrupt due to the lack of sales. Shaking off all the negativity, Heinz quickly took the knowledge as well as the experience he learned from the past business venture and decided to partner up with his brother John Heinz and cousin Frederick Heinz to start F&J Heinz Company in 1875. The company started selling a new sauce invented by Heinz, and it was called, you guessed it, ketchup. Believe it or not, ketchup was actually an accidental invention and actually originated from a Chinese recipe used as seasoning for many dishes called ketchup, which translated simply meant pickled fish sauce. Upon discovering this recipe, Heinz took the recipe and tried to replicate it with tomatoes instead, and in doing so, created the world-famous Heinz ketchup. Aside from that revolutionary recipe, Heinz also made sure to cover all his bases this time around. He was convinced that the company should have its own land to control production. This helped him maintain the quality of his products while also keeping the production costs as low as possible. In the 1800s, people in America avoided using anything with raw tomatoes, as it was considered to be poisonous. So, while tomato paste was very much a thing, people didn't really want to use it because it included unripe tomatoes in its ingredients. And that was where Heinz ketchup was able to differentiate itself. As the Heinz company grew their own tomatoes, they were able to put themselves in a position where their delicious sauce was safe, and this created a sense of trust among the customers, which was the biggest reason behind their success, right after their delicious recipe, of course. They went so far as to patent the tomato variety H1418 that they used, again ensuring no other company was able to use this type of tomatoes that gave Heinz ketchup its unique taste. Slowly, through the rising sale of Heinz ketchup, the company started generating enough revenue for Henry Heinz to pay back his debts and focus on development. Not stopping there, by 1888, the company was so successful that Heinz was able to buy out all of his other family members and become its sole legal owner. After that, Heinz opened a huge factory in Pennsylvania and introduced new technologies to maintain the quality of his product, as well as to meet the demands of ketchup production. Being the businessman that he was, Heinz realized that ketchup sales, no matter how good it was risky if it was the only source of revenue for the company, and thus he branched out and began manufacturing tons of other sauces and marinades, like sauces made of green and red peppers, pickled onions, and their ever-famous baked beans. But the best seller was always ketchup. When Heinz knew that he had perfected the recipe, he moved on to the next step and started improving on the packaging of his products. He soon realized that people at the time were not really big fans of canned food, as they were not able to see what the product looked like. So Heinz developed a strategy to allow customers to see how their product looked inside the container before buying it. This is when the company's signature transparent ketchup bottle was developed. However, people noticed that the ketchup would often go dark at the top of the bottle, which looked bad and unhygienic. And this was a problem, as it deterred people from purchasing a bottle of ketchup. Even though Heinz reassured everyone that it was nothing to worry about and that the ketchup naturally had the tendency to change color, the company started gluing labels around the bottleneck to keep things looking clean. Not just that, but Heinz also started offering factory tours to show the cleanliness and safety of their manufacturing process, putting all the rumors to bed. After perfecting their recipe and building customer trust, Heinz then began to look at clever ways of advertising their products. It all started when Henry was on the way home one day when he saw a shoe store advertising 21 styles of shoes. Clearly, he thought it was good, as it led to Heinz advertising their 57 varieties of products by putting the number on their ketchup bottles. But here's the catch. The company was actually selling 60 products at the time, not 57. So why did Heinz choose 57? Because Heinz believed that the number 57 was his lucky number and decided to go with that, and thus the 57 varieties logo has stuck ever since then, literally on every bottle. But that's not where the advertisement stops. Heinz always believed in giving their customers a quality experience that would keep them coming back, which is why every Heinz store had samples of all their products that the customers could taste before buying. The samples would be tasted using cardboard spoons that the company would immediately throw away, maintaining their hygiene standards. Heinz, the entrepreneur that he is, always had a mind for keeping relevant and was always finding innovative ways to grow his business. In fact, when neon advertising appeared in the United States at the beginning of the 20th century, Henry J. Heinz was one of the first companies to make use of neon advertising nationwide, showing his mindset and the approach he took to being relevant. At this point, Heinz was dominating the condiment industry, and the company obviously had tons of rivals trying to copy their strategies. This is why Heinz went to extreme measures to make sure that nobody was able to replicate their recipe or packaging. They even went as far as to dump extra or discarded packaging in the river so that no one would ever get their hands on it. In 1886, Heinz went international, and England became the first foreign to market their products. By the 1920s, the company's sales grew to such a percentage that Heinz was forced to open an office and build a whole new factory in London to keep up with the rising demands. After that, Heinz's international trade only went upwards, as their ketchup became one of the first ever products that was as widespread in Europe as it was in the USA. After his death in 1919, the company was taken over by Henry Heinz's son Howard, who took the company forward with the same strategies as his father. The company largely focused on completing the production cycle, from growing their own vegetables to mass supplying their products, which is how Heinz survived historical events like the Great Depression and even World War I. However, the business did suffer a small loss during the First World War, because the company had to halt the production of ketchup in the UK from 1939 to 1948. However, it was at this point where other Heinz canned products like their soups, baked beans, and salad creams started to become fan favorites in the UK, which ultimately meant that the company was still able to turn a profit. Howard Heinz kept the business in the family until 1941, when H.J. Jack Heinz II, who was Heinz's grandson, headed the company. He earned a tremendous amount of money by supplying the army with Heinz products. But at the same time, he managed a broad expansion of their family business by building factories worldwide, including Portugal, Mexico, the Netherlands, Italy, and other countries. After that, a higher team was given the reins of the business, but till this day, the Heinz family is still the biggest stake owner in the company. In February of 2013, Heinz was bought for $28 billion by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, and this deal became the largest ones in the history of food brands. Shortly after that, in 2015, the company merged with Kraft Foods and is now known as the Kraft Heinz Company, which was not as smooth as it was supposed to be, but that's another story for another video. Today, Heinz is still famous for utilizing about 2 million tons of tomatoes annually in their secret ketchup recipe, only known to 7 people in the Heinz organization, which is more than any other company in the world. The company currently has over 37,000 employees and operates in some 200 countries, manufacturing over 6,000 products ranging from tuna to cat food. But the top-selling item still remains their unbeatable ketchup. The company generated approximately $24.98 billion in global net sales in 2019, and the sales went up by 3.8% in the following year, proving that even during economic crises, Heinz is still a #1 choice in most households. Heinz ketchup currently holds 80% of the market share in Europe and 60% in the United States. And with the world entering a new era of sustainability, the company also seems to be moving in the same direction. As a company, in the future, Heinz is said to adapt more sustainable ways of production and will promote corporate social responsibility to keep in line with Henry Heinz's original vision for the brand. Over the course of so many decades, Heinz is a company that has managed to retain its core values and strategies, but also move forward with the times. With constant innovation in terms of products, advertisement, and international expansion, it won't be a surprise if Heinz ketchup remains a staple in everyone's kitchen shelves for a long time. So tell us, what is your favorite brand of ketchup? We'll be sure to cover the brand that has the most comments in a future video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for future notifications. Be inspired, and we will see you in the next one. Now, I really don't know about you, but I am ready to get some French fries and bust open a bottle of Heinz ketchup as I watch the next video. If you would like to have a closer look at how some companies make their money, click the video on the left. Or if you would like to find out about how other companies were able to scale up their business empires into massive giants just like this one, click the video.